Of all the athletes on the MT Top 40, few would overcome more odds stacked against them than the #1 tight end on our list. From being a small-town 8-man football player who actually missed his junior season and almost didn't play as a senior, to heading into college undersized as a long shot to the National Football League. But he wound up All-Conference All-State, wound up All-Conference All-American, and eventually held a 7-year career in the pros. The #1 tight end is Chester's and Carroll College's Casey Fitzsimmons.
We're recruiting that year, and it's my first year, and I'm really the only guy recruiting. I had a number of these players on my recruits, but I didn't have Casey when I was at Wyoming. I had Heath Wall, and I had Shane Larson, I had the Grafford brothers, I had Rhett Christ, but Casey was kind of an anomaly because he didn't play his junior year. So we'd heard about Casey, and I went up during district basketball tournament at Great Falls High's gym, and my wife and I and the 2 boys, we just sat and watched. I didn't even talk to him. I just watched him play. I watched how hard he played, and I watched his interaction with his teammates. After the game, I just said, this kid's a class act, and you could tell sports meant a lot to him. And he comes in here as a 198-pound tight end, and it's like, we're going to go with him. That's all we had. I mean, but he turned out to be a great player and just a real competitor and very athletic at that position.
Born in Wolf Point, Fitzsimmons became an all-conference and all-state performer at Chester High School in basketball and football, earning a runner-up finish in the Class C basketball tournament in the 98-99 season. He would miss his junior year of football and actually wasn't going to play as a senior, missed the morning practice on the opening day, but teammates and friends would convince him to rejoin the Coyotes, and that was a great decision. Mike Van Diest and Carroll took notice of that potential, and he would change the way the game was played in the league.
Kind of brought the tight end back into the Frontier Conference because at the time everybody was going 4 wideouts. And I remember that fall going to the conference meetings, tight ends weren't even voted on for all conference. I said, hey, wait a minute. And you had Rocky and West, all these guys that were going 4 wideouts. I go, no, we vote for 4 wideouts. I go, well, we got a pretty good tight end. I think he better start bringing that position back into play.
The thing about Casey that was very intriguing is just his athletic ability. And he excelled on the basketball court. And in fact, I think he thought he was the next Larry Bird. But some high school friends of his really persuaded him into going out for football. And so you knew that there was no limit to how good he could be. He was raw. I think he showed up here at 195 or 200 pounds. And then when he graduated from here, I think he was right at 250. You know, so he pretty much put on 15 pounds a year every year he was here, and then unbelievable talent in anything we asked him to do.
That wound up being a little of everything for Howlett, Van Diest, and the Fighting Saints. After bulking up as a sophomore, he'd actually gained nearly 60 pounds in 4 years while still getting faster. Fitzsimmons would haul in 70 catches and 8 touchdowns that sophomore campaign, the first of 3 consecutive All-American efforts.
Well, I think Casey definitely benefited from all those years of playing basketball and all the hand-eye coordination. Probably had as good a hands as we've ever had here. And a lot of it, I think, stems from the years of playing basketball. But unbelievable hands. You know, the in vogue phrase these days is catch radius. He was, you know, could box guys out. He could outrun guys and out-jump guys. Everything we ever asked him to do, we put him at fullback at times. Just because he was versatile. We split him out wide. Probably should have done more of that, especially if you ask him, you know. But, you know, catching, you know, 65, 70 passes a year wasn't enough, so we should have used him more.
Well, that comes back with, I think, his basketball skills, catching the ball in traffic and underneath and going up for rebounds. And you could throw the ball anywhere near Casey, and he was going to get it. And he wanted that football. You know, he wanted to be. He was not a blocking tight end his first year here, maybe even his second year here. But he was a guy, you get the ball to him, he's going to get it, and then he knew what to do with it afterwards. He was a great mismatch as he got older as a sophomore, junior, and senior into our program because he was so much more physical than safeties, and he could outrun linebackers. And that's what propelled him into the NFL.
Fitzsimmons would finish his Carroll career a 4-time Frontier Conference All-Conference selection, a 2-time second-team All-American, and the Frontier Conference MVP, first-team All-American, and National Player of the Year finalist as a senior. That came after 79 catches, 971 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Oh, and Carroll College also won its first NAIA National Championship. Casey Fitzsimmons would tally 244 receptions, 2,698 yards, and 21 touchdowns for the Fighting Saints, and that caught the attention of NFL scouts.
The one thing that was interesting in one of the guys that was supposed to come visit Casey, who didn't, and then ended up having to play against him in the same division. The next time we had anybody worth looking at, spent about 3 hours with him because he missed on Casey and caught some ribbing for it. Not having a lot of experience with NFL talent myself, there were guys that I reached out to. I remember talking to Coach Beers, you know, and I remember even talking to Tommy Lee when he was at Western. And because, you know, Coach Lee had some NFL type guys that he played with, you know, Luther Ellis and those types of guys. So he had a pretty good eye for it and had coached at the CFL and different things in the NFL Europe, the World League, I guess, when it was back then. And those guys were adamant that he was going to have a chance. And so when those guys went to bat, then I realized that we did truly have something special.
After signing as an undrafted free agent with the Detroit Lions, Fitzsimmons would start 11 games as a rookie, scoring a pair of touchdowns. His 7-year career finished with 99 games played, 88 catches, 677 yards, and 5 touchdowns. In his final years, he actually returned 7 kicks for 113 yards and a score, that touchdown against the Chicago Bears in September of 2007.
It was unbelievable. I remember I was fortunate to go watch him play his rookie year in the last game of the season against the Rams. And here he was playing against the greatest show on turf and beating him. And I think he had 4 catches that day and was unbelievable to just see the Lions using him like we did at Carroll College. And I think he started 11 of 16 or 12 games as a rookie, which is unheard of at any level. So he did enough to impress those guys at the highest level you can do it.
Fitzsimmons was forced to retire due to concussions in April of 2010, a member of the Carroll College Athletics Hall of Fame. He was also inducted into the NAIA Hall of Fame, the class of 2011, and then the Montana Football Hall of Fame in 2018. So there you go, the #1 tight end in Montana's history, a 7-year pro with the Detroit Lions, a 3-time All-American with the Carroll College Fighting Saints, national champion there in 2002, and the All-Conference and All-State performer in hoops and football for the Chester High School Coyotes. #1, Casey Fitzsimmons. The honorable mentions include his former coach, Mike Van Diest, over there at Carroll College. Yes, he played tight end as well. Didn't want us to put him on the list, but he was absolutely a football player and now a football coach. You can check out all the stats on these honorable mentions. That, of course, is also at montanasports.com. Next week, wide receivers. Richie Melby, MTN Sports.